Welcome to our Academic Skills video series, hosted by me, your favourite librarian. This video is going to look at the basics of using our library and what it can do for you during your time at Harris Westminster. In short, a lot. Our library is called the Wigoder Library and is the most important place in the school. It has a large number of both print and digital resources that you can and should make use of. I'm aware that some of you may not have used your library a lot in secondary school, or sadly might not even have had one. You therefore may not be in the habit of using a school library in addition to all of the services it provides. Now is most definitely the time to make the most of it. We are going to start with some basic information about the books on the shelves, i.e. the print collection, and how you can use these. Our library currently holds over 12,000 books for you to explore. We have both fiction, covering a wide range of genres, in addition to non-fiction, which encompasses all of the subjects you study at A-level and more. A lot to choose from. First things first, loans and borrowing. You can borrow a maximum of 10 books. Yes, you did hear me, 10 books. That doesn't mean you have to borrow 10 books each time, but you can do so if you wish. These books will normally be yours for 1 month, unless it is a short loan, which will be indicated on the book's spine with a label, and these you keep for a week. To borrow a book, all you need to do is bring it to the desk to be issued to you. The only books you cannot borrow are reference books. These have a red and white reference label on their spines. These permanently live in the library, so are always ready for study use in there. Nearly all reference books have a loaning copy, so this is the copy you want to pick up to take to the desk for borrowing. The library is very helpful and will send you an email reminder a couple of days before your books are due back. To return your borrowed books, simply drop into the library and place them in the returns tray on the desk. Please don't put them back on the shelves, as the books sadly cannot tell me that they have returned. Place them in the returns tray and they will be returned from your account. Easy peasy. Now, not all of our books are always on the shelf. Many of them will be on loan to students and staff. If this is the case, you can place a reservation on a book. This is very easy to do. Just ask at the desk or drop me an email. A reservation means that when a book is returned, it will be held for you. An email will make its way to you and you can come and pick it up. Sometimes you may want to borrow a book and it isn't currently held in the library collection. If this is the case, you can request a copy to be ordered in for you. This again is a very quick process. Simply hit the tile on the portal titled Request a Book and you can fill in the details there. When that book arrives all shiny and new, you will be notified via email and you can come and collect it. Sometimes you may run into troubled waters with the books you have borrowed. Maybe you have lost your current loan. Maybe it is at an alternate address and you can't get to it. Now, we don't charge fines, so you don't need to worry about that, and you will of course never be shouted at. Just drop the library an email or pop in and speak to me, and we can get it sorted out for you. No problems. I am very talented, and am able to store the details of almost all of the books we hold in my head. As you haven't trained as a librarian yet, you have Heritage, which is our library catalogue. This has full details of all the books that we hold, as well as information on them. More on that in a second. You can access Heritage through the tile on the portal. Enter a search term on Heritage, be that a title, author or keyword, and it will show you the most relevant results which meet this criteria. Here is an example of a book's record. We are going to look at some key pieces of information which will help you find this book in our library. The first thing you want to know is where a book is shelved. This is the number on its spine, in this example 303.483. The second thing you want to know is what subject section a book lives in. This book lives in mathematics. Now, if I was trying to find this book on the shelf, it currently wouldn't be there, as it is on loan. In this case, I can ask to reserve it at the desk. As you may have noticed, the author, subject and keywords are all hyperlinks. This is a great way to find other books that may be of use and interesting for you. If I'm really interested in learning more about the social aspects of algorithms, Clicking on that key term will bring up the other books we have that cover this topic. Very helpful. I mentioned previously the number on a book's spine. All of our non-fiction books are shelved using the Dewey Decimal Classification System, often abbreviated to DDC. The DDC is a way to organise books by topic or theme as opposed to by author surname, the way you would shelve fiction titles. Books are shelved in numerical order, so as you move along the shelf, you will find the numbers are increasingly greater. The more specific a number is, the more specific the topic. All books with the same number are on the same topic. Let's look at this in practice. The 5 10s are the numbers for maths. 5 12s are more specifically for algebra. We then can get even more specific, with 512.7 being number theory, and even more specific than that, with 512.73 being prime numbers. All books on prime numbers will be shelved here. The Dewey Decimal Classification System is used by nearly all public libraries in the UK, as well as a number of other countries. This means that if you know the number of a topic, you can find it in any library using this system. In our library, you will find a sign for each subject section listing the most wanted Dewey Decimal classifications, so you can easily find these. Clever. Our library certainly does not have a lot of rules, but the ones we have in place are to ensure it is a welcoming and studious space for everyone who wants to use it. Firstly, and probably most importantly, is that the library is a silent study space. If you wish to undertake group study, please find an alternate room to do so. The books need silence to rest properly, so please make sure you work silently. The second house rule is that the library is a food-free zone. If you wish to snack while studying, please head elsewhere. Not only does food make the space smell, it also creates a lot of din if there are crinkling packets and rustling wrappers. Food also attracts pests, and I do not want any weevils taking up residence in the library. The horror. Lastly, is that the library is a hog-free zone. This giant forest hog is living in the forest, and that is ideal. He is not in our library, hogging it up in there. Library hogs are those that hog resources in terms of both study space and books. Please return your books at the end of their loaning period, so others can use them too. The library also isn't the place to leave your work spread across a desk, so no one else can use the workspace if you wish to leave for an extended period of time. There is of course no issue with you leaving your possessions if you wish to pop out to fill up your water bottle or grab some printing, but please don't leave these unattended for vast swathes of time, denying others space to work. At Harris Westminster, we talk about how brilliant reading is a lot, and we aren't wrong. I do, however, know it can sometimes be hard to know what to read next, or maybe you want to challenge yourself during your sixth form years. Great idea, brilliant ethos. You should definitely join our Sanford Scholars programme. This is Harris Westminster's very own reading programme, named after the highly esteemed and most excellent librarian, Sanford Berman. There are 3 levels for you to work through, all which have a different number of texts to read. The reason I'm using the word text here is that it isn't just books which are included. Articles, poetry and plays also form part of it if you wish them to. You aren't restricted to fiction or non-fiction. It is your choice what you read. Each of the levels has various categories to complete. Simply check out what the category is and pick a text that fits it. If you are unsure what text to pick, do please ask me and I can recommend you something. You simply read your text and fill in your thoughts in the zine for that level. You can come and collect your starting bronze level zine from the library. There is no time limit in which you have to complete a level. It might take you a month, a term, a year, or 2 years. That doesn't matter at all, as reading isn't a race. You also don't have to read any set books. It is very much open to you to choose what you want to explore, with some gentle guidance from the category. Each level brings different rewards, which I won't spoil here. The Sanford Scholars is a great way to get back into reading if you had had a lull in your GCSE years, or maybe you want to try something new during your A-levels. Please do drop into the library and pick up your bronze level zine to get going. often say that the most important resource in a library is the librarians within it. I'm always on hand to help you with any aspect of reading, book recommendations, database searching, academic skills, or pretty much anything else you can think of. Please do drop into the library and speak to me, or send me an email. You may sometimes see me roaming around the school in a jazzy shirt, so please do say hello. The Library Committee are another brilliant resource for you to use. The committee are a top team who act as a bridge between the library and the student body. They look at how reading and the library are working in the school, as well as providing recommendations and help to anybody who needs it. Each form group has a committee member linked to them, providing you with a go-to member. The committee are also all linked to different faculties, so you can always speak to them in this capacity if you have any questions or concerns about reading in your subjects or would like a recommendation. Lastly, remember that all staff are readers and can always provide you with reading recommendations, as well as how to use our library, so don't be afraid to ask. I hope this has helped you to discover more about our library. To end, I'm going to throw down some top tips to keep in mind. Firstly is that being scholarly doesn't mean you have to borrow stacks of books. I mentioned that you were able to borrow up to 10 books. This doesn't mean you have to be borrowing 10 each time. It is far better to borrow 1 or 2 selectively and read them than letting a stack of books gather dust in your room. Secondly is that the time for hinterland is now. If you haven't read much before or had a lull, this isn't a problem. You can dive right back into the world of reading. Expand your hinterland and join the Sanford Scholars programme for further inspiration. Lastly, remember that my role as your librarian is to help you. Students sometimes think they are interrupting me if they come and speak to me at the desk, but you are not at all. I am essentially doing computer work until you ask me how to find a book or which would be the best book to pick, so do always come and ask. You are also always welcome to drop into the library or book a one-to-one meeting with me using the Book a Librarian tile.